Breaking news, perhaps the best overall player in the NFL is now being paid like it. Aaron Donald and the Rams agreeing to a 2-year extension that will pay him at least $60 million, according to multiple reports. Now, this is not any added time onto his current deal. What it is a big raise and a couple of big guarantees as well. They are going to try to run it back with Aaron Donald. The Rams tweeting, Super Bowl champion Aaron Donald is back. Essentially $95 million over the course of the next 3 seasons for Aaron Donald, the 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, and he's only 31 years old. Chris Hassel joined by Brady Quinn and Bryant McFadden. Boy, you just said in the break, you know, he's getting paid a lot of money. Might not be enough at this point for how much he does.
I think he has as good of a case as anyone in the league to be paid almost the equivalent of a quarterback. I mean, if you look at how he changes the game, playing as an interior player on the defensive line, I mean, he's good against the run. He's good against the pass. He literally takes up not only double teams, sometimes triple teams when you watch the tape of him. He's a 8-time Pro Bowler, 7-time All-Pro. The only equivalent to me when I look back, and this is kind of dating me, but it's really Reggie White. Like, he's that type of impactful player. He's already had a Hall of Fame career. But if you're taking away the quarterback designation, the importance of that position, this is the best player in the league, hands down. You ask any offensive lineman, anyone game planning for them, there's no one who's more durable, more consistent, more impactful on a regular basis than Aaron Donald. So completely justified. This was a long time coming, so I'm glad they got this deal done, B-Mac.
More feared also, Brady. I think when you look at players that play against him, when you look at fans that root against him, they're afraid of Aaron Donald because of everything that you mentioned, how he can take over a ball game, his speed, his quickness, and just the physical nature that he plays with. He is always angry anytime he has his hand in the dirt, and because of that, along with the skill set, he's become one of the more dominating players we've ever seen. And because of that, as Brady mentioned, I don't think you can find one football fan that can argue and say he is not deserving of this extension. If they wanted to pay him $35 million, I think we all would say, sounds about right. If they wanted to pay him $38, we all would say, yeah, that sounds about right. Because he's that type of player. And you talked about Reggie White, Brady. My favorite player growing up was Lawrence Taylor. That's why I became a Giants fan, because of number 56. And I felt like Lawrence Taylor was the best defensive lineman best defensive player to ever play the game in the National Football League. And I've been saying that for a long time. But Aaron Donald has moved into the same neighborhood as Lawrence Taylor. They're right next to each other. And man, if he put up one more prolific year, and it's not just about the championship. Now, granted, if he wins the championship, then that's a whole nother argument. But if he does gives us one more prolific year, I might have to put Aaron Donald in his own neighborhood. And that says a lot coming from me, because I was a big Lawrence Taylor fan. But look at these numbers. Like, Aaron Donald is getting ready to go into a conversation, Brady and Chris, where you talk about the best players to ever play, regardless of position in the National Football League. Aaron Donald is he's going into that direction of being like a top 3 guy to ever do it, no matter what position it is. That's where he's going.
I think he's already done it. It's not that he's going. He's already there. It's Reggie White, LT, it's Aaron Donald. I mean, let's be real about this. No one's had, outside of those 2 guys, the type of stretch that he's had since he got into the league as an 8-time Pro Bowler, 7-time All-Pro, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. So there's that. Here's the bigger picture, though. This, to me, was huge for the Rams to get this done, because I think it improves their chances now of winning a Super Bowl. I mean, if you look at this defense, as good as Jalen Ramsey is and some of the other pieces as well, it's not the same defense without Aaron Donald, who's a closer. We saw that in the Super Bowl, hawking down Joe Burrow. We saw that time and time again, getting after Tom Brady when they get in the playoffs. That's what he brings to the table. He's the guy you rely on when you need a play to make a play. And guess what? All other 10 defenders on defense do too. So now that they have this piece of the puzzle back, if I'm Sean McVay and Les Snead and the LA Rams, I feel really confident once again about our chance of repeating.
Yeah, B-Mac, I mean, you lost Von Miller to the Bills, but they went out and they got Bobby Wagner, and now making everything whole with this signing of Aaron Donald. Where are you putting the Rams right now?
I mean, I like them in their division, no question. I think they're still one of the best teams in the NFC. I wouldn't be surprised to see them get to the level of repeating for another championship, right, back to back. He is the transmission that your car needs. If you don't have a transmission, your car's not going anywhere. And that's what he means to their defense. That's what he means to the entire team. So this was huge for him, not to mention we saw, a few weeks ago when he said football, he don't need football, right? So it was almost like now the sense of urgency, if it wasn't there for the Rams to get something done, hearing him say that I don't really need football, I'm happy without football, whatever it was he said, definitely put a fire under the organization and say, you know what? Let's go ahead and do what Green Bay did to Aaron Rodgers. Let's make him feel good. Give him another reason to be motivated to come and try to run it back. So he is the most impactful player in the National Football League. And if they don't have Aaron Donald, a happy Aaron Donald, this team won't go as far as they can go when he's happy, smiling, but yet and still angry.
Three teams, right? You've got the Green Bay Packers, the Tampa Bay Bucks, and the LA Rams. And I think it's really interesting when you look at all three, what could prevent them from winning the NFC. For me, at least with Tampa Bay, it's Todd Bowles, taking over as head coach. Now, how does that differ from Bruce Arians being there? Even though he's elevated from a defensive coordinator, there's still a transition there. You look at Green Bay, no Devontae Adams. That's something that Aaron Rodgers has to deal with. How do they overcome that? For the defending Super Bowl champs, to me, it's just their division. I mean, they probably have the most difficult division of those other two teams that I named, and looking at the NFC North, NFC South. So they all have, their own, hurdles, if you will, ahead of them. But for me, this makes them not only a favorite to win the division, but I'll just go ahead and say it now. I think they're the favorite to win the NFC. So I know I talked about laying a futures bet on Green Bay earlier, but that was before we found out about Aaron Donald coming back. So.
Well, and a huge sigh of relief, too, a couple of them for Rams fans, because you win that Super Bowl and there was all that talk about, boy, our head coach might go take the money in the broadcast booth, and maybe this is it for Aaron Donald. You get them both coming back, virtually the entire team. I know they don't have Von Miller anymore. Odell Beckham Jr. is probably out, but pretty much everybody else is returning.
Yeah, but as you said, look, they add Bobby Wagner. They obviously add a wide receiver in Allen Robinson, who I think is going to have a tremendous year too. And so I think as this roster continues to develop, they will be right in the thick of it when it's all said and done. Sean McVay is a brilliant head coach. Aaron Donald's the best player, in my opinion, overall in the league. And Matt Stafford showcased now with this opportunity, the team he has out around them, there's no doubt about it. They're one of the top contenders for another Super Bowl.
Hey, Matt?
Yeah, I agree. And let's not forget about having a healthy Cam Akers for the entire season. Remember, he didn't get back into the lineup until towards the end of the year and had a real substantial playoff run to help this team win a championship. So me personally, yes, I agree. I think they should be the favorites. And also, when you look at some unexpected things happening to some veteran players, especially on the defensive side, I wouldn't be surprised to see some notable veteran players get cut before the start of the season, and they probably would be willing to take less to go out and team up with Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey just to be able to try to compete for that final game in Glendale, Arizona. So this is a team that's already good, but they probably could get a little better based on some unexpected things happening when it comes to the personnel side of things as well.
Aaron Donald, 31 years old, just turned 31 last month.
Wow.
How much longer can he perform at this level, at the level that we have not seen since, as you guys said, Reggie White, Lawrence Taylor, some 30 years ago? It's
hard to tell because when you compare him to guys like LT, who played primarily on the edge, you look at Reggie White, played some in the interior, some of the edge. Reggie White was a massive guy. Aaron Donald coming into the league, the only question I think you had about him is he's not the biggest guy who's going to play largely a three technique or down the interior defensive front. So that concerns you, I think, moving forward if he loses that motor, if he loses that punch, that power, all those things. I think he can play at a high level for a long time, though. I mean, this guy doesn't look like he's slowing down at all. So I think he'll finish out the rest of this. If he wants to play after that, I'm sure he can. But I think he's got definitely the next 3 years of this contract in him. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I mean, you saw those numbers? 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. I mean, it sounded like a disc that was on skip. It just kept saying 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. That's who he is. And the thing I love about Aaron Donald, to add on to what Brady just mentioned regarding how long he can play, the way he take care of his body. He has no off season. This man is always in the weight room. He's always outside doing ladder drills, feet work type things, hand placement and things like that. The man works out with knives, right? Think about that. He does his hand drill with knives. You got to be a perfectionist to be able to just think about trying to do that. So he is in that level of wanting to continue to get better. The only thing that could prevent Aaron Donald from, I think, let's say, playing throughout this entire contract, if he says, I don't want to play anymore. That's it. Mentally, I'm done. Because I think from the physical side of things, he can play as long as he wants to. He can definitely exceed this contract extension and go on for another 4 or 5 years if he would like to. But I think mentally, let's say he just says, you know what, enough is enough. Mentally, I'm not there. But from the physical side of things, man, that man is a beast. He can go as long as he wants.
Aaron Donald may work out with knives, as we heard earlier on today's show. The Chris Hassel, he does his handwork with bratwurst.
Hey now. Hey now. I just eat them. I mean, there's no handwork.
Okay.
They go in the bun, they go in my mouth.
Hey, Chris, you say you put mustard? You put mustard on them?
Oh, you have to put mustard on bratwurst.
Sauerkraut?
No. Now they will in Wisconsin, but not me. It's just mustard. And you can dabble in some other things as well. You could maybe put a little relish on there, but
There you go.
if it's a good enough brat, it doesn't need
That
that
sounds absolutely disgusting.
By the way, the NFL on CBS Twitter account kind of puts things into perspective a little bit, kind of what you were saying, Brady, at the start. Like, boy, he's making a lot, more than any other non-quarterback, but you could pay him more. He's still making less per year than Jared Goff and Carson Wentz.
Yeah. I mean, you could justify that he impacts the game just as much as those players do, even though they're playing the quarterback position. I mean, that's how you go about game planning for him. When you walk in that week, the offensive line, no one's talking. Everyone's stressed because they got to deal with this guy. But, even as the quarterback looking at him, all your protection is, where is he? That's where we're sliding the protection. In the run game, we're double teaming him. We're running away from him. You're doing everything you can from a game planning standpoint to limit his impact in the game. That's how much of an impact player he is.
Brady Quinn and Bryant McFadden with us here on CBS Sports HQ as Aaron Donald agrees to basically a restructured raise and more guaranteed money. Just won his first Super Bowl championship, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. Both Brady and BMAC say he is the best to do it in a generation. Got to go back to the Reggie Whites and the Lawrence Taylors of the world, and he might be even better than that.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.